5 years. Spanish flu of 1918, SARS of 2003, swine flu of 2009, MERS of 2012, and now COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the common factor in all these epidemics and pandemics? Yes, you're right. Slaughtering animals for meat eating. The sight of chickens stuffed in small cages where their limbs get broken, transported long distances to slaughterhouses in trucks or vans is quite common. They are treated as commodities, not as live beings. Even in the slaughterhouse, they are kept in such cramped conditions that they barely get enough space to even stand properly. The fate of bigger animals like goats, lambs, pigs and cows is no better. Why don't we understand that animals are percipient, conscious beings having feelings and emotions? They can sense the onset of a natural calamity like an earthquake, a cyclone or a tsunami much in advance. They are highly sensitive to vibrations. The vibrations of a slaughterhouse are no better than the vibrations of a cremation ground. Suppose a person comes to know that he is going to be brutally killed and cut into pieces after a month or at a particular time. What emotions will be generated in his mind? Ladies and gentlemen, 5 dominant emotions will be uppermost in his mind: fear, hatred, anger, sadness, and helplessness. These are the emotions which every animal living in the environment of pain and death of a slaughterhouse undergoes for a month, 2 months, or till its turn to be killed comes. And these are the emotions which are consumed by us with every bite of Rogan Josh, butter chicken, Amritsari fish, or Sikh kebabs. Now, ladies and gentlemen, recipes are exchanged. Children are told by their mothers, eat, my child. Mutton and chicken are full of protein. You will become strong and healthy if you eat these. Sometimes children don't even know that what they are eating is the flesh of a dead animal. We are conditioned to believe that meat has to be a part of our diet if we want to stay healthy. People shower all their love and affection on their pets, but they don't mind tearing into the flesh of other animals without having any qualms of conscience. This phenomenon has been termed as carnism by Dr. Melanie Joy, who has done PhD in the psychology of eating meat. When my daughter was 5-year-old, she happened to see a goat being cut in front of the cookhouse of her army mess along with 2 other children. They got so horrified by the sight that they formed a group of Mercy for Animals. My daughter, who is 35 now, has not eaten meat ever since. Now, let's consider the physical aspect of meat eating. Man is constitutionally herbivorous. Our intestinal tract is much lengthier than that of a carnivorous animal. Therefore, it takes 72 hours for the meat to be digested. Just keep a piece of meat outside for 72 hours. Even for 4 hours, it will rot. The same bacterial action takes place inside our intestines. Dr. Hiromi Shinya, a world-renowned gastroenterologist who has examined 350,000 stomachs and intestines through a colonoscope over his practice of 40 years both in Japan and the USA, has written in his book, The Rejuvenation Factor, that the nutrients from the food we eat get digested and absorbed by our intestines. And they are carried to all the cells of our body through blood. Our body has 40 to 60 trillion cells. Inside these cells are the organs called mitochondria, which convert these nutrients into energy for all our activities. A diet comprised of meat, fish, eggs, even egg whites, generates a lot of defective protein or garbage. As this garbage builds up inside our cells, mitochondria cannot function properly, and so the energy is not generated. As we age, this accumulated garbage, as in any city dump, becomes toxic, leading to such deadly diseases as diabetes, cancer, heart disease, brain stroke, and many more. Each cell contains DNA, a chemical which has the map for the entire body and its functions. The toxic bioproducts of meat diet damages the DNA, turning the cells cancerous. Now, cancerous cells start multiplying on their own. Our blood has red blood cells, white blood cells, and lymphocytes. White blood cells and lymphocytes attack the enemies like bacteria and viruses. But when these cells are damaged, the frontline defense mechanism of the body suffers. And when this happens, when the frontline defense mechanism of the body becomes weak, we catch infections or the abnormal cancerous cells appear. Dr. Shinya judges the health of his patients by the health of their intestines. He says the intestine of a meat eater is dirty, clogged, hard, and swollen, whereas the intestine of a plant eater is pink, extremely soft, clean, and has big uniform folds. Now let's dispel 4 myths about meat eating. The first is, how can we get protein if we don't eat meat? Have you noticed that we eat the meat of herbivorous animals? All the protein that we get when we eat goats, pigs, and cows comes from the plants that these animals eat. Bob Bailey, Research Director, Energy, Resources and Environment, says that these animals are just the middlemen, consuming 6 times more protein from plants than they produce. An average plant eater gets 70% more protein than he needs. Meat eaters also get 50% of their protein from plants. 1 cup of cooked lentil or 1 sandwich of peanut butter has about the same amount of protein as 3 ounces of meat or 3 large eggs. These figures have been given in a revolutionary documentary, Game Changers, which must be watched by everyone. The second myth is that the plant protein is of inferior quality and is not complete. Proteins are strings of amino acids. Our body cannot generate some amino acids, and so we have to get them from the food. Every single plant has all the essential amino acids in varying proportions. Moreover, the protein which we get from plants is packaged with phytochemicals, minerals, antioxidants, and vitamins, which optimize the blood supply. The blood flow is optimized by the proteins that we get from plants. On the other hand, when we eat meat, the plaque is formed inside our arteries. Dr. Cardwell Esselstyn, an internationally renowned heart disease researcher, says that this plaque formation limits the function of the arteries and blocks the blood flow. Moreover, highly inflammatory compounds are formed which corrode our cardiovascular system. On the other hand, the people who get all their protein from plants reduce their risk of heart disease by 55%. The third myth is that we cannot build our muscles and our stamina if we don't eat meat. That means lions and tigers should have extraordinary muscles because they are carnivores. But the reality is that the herbivores like horses and deer have much better developed muscles than lions and tigers. Lions and tigers do not have the stamina to pursue their prey for an extended period of time. They rather leap into action in an instant and use their speed to catch and kill their prey. Moreover, muscles are formed primarily by carbohydrates formed in plants. The fourth myth is that how can we grow tall if we don't eat meat? But giraffes and elephants are several times taller than lions and tigers, but they are herbivores. Moreover, the teeth of humans are for crushing and grinding, not for tearing and swallowing. Many top athletes, bodybuilders and wrestlers have switched over to vegan diet, resulting in a dramatic increase in their strength, stamina and muscle mass. Patrick Baboumian, one of the strongest men on the planet with multiple world records, who is a superhuman and whose name is in the Guinness Book of Record, is a vegan. In one of the world records, he carried 1,224 pounds, that is the weight of a horse, a distance of 33 feet. In one of the interviews, he was asked, how could you get as strong as an ox without eating meat? He answered, have you ever seen an ox eating meat? Now, let's take up the effect of meat eating on the environment. Ladies and gentlemen, 70 billion animals are consumed globally in a year. Now, the animal feed which is required for these animals takes up a vast area of land, which comes either from the farmland or from the forests. Menka Gandhi, a passionate animal rights activist, says that when we eat 1 kg of meat, we have to forego 100 kgs of wheat or rice, giving rise to hunger and starvation in the world. Meat, egg and fish farming uses 83% of the world's farmland and provides 18% of the world's calories. Now, meat industry is also encroaching upon our precious forest land, leading to the extinction of the rare species of animals. You know, ladies and gentlemen, if every single person in the United States of America becomes vegan, you know how much land we will be able to save? The land of the size of the entire continent of Africa. Yes, meat industry also requires a large amount of fresh water. One meat hamburger has 2400 liters of embedded water in it. Now let's go back to history. Many legendary figures of history like Socrates, Leonardo da Vinci, Benjamin Franklin, Edison, Einstein, Newton, Gandhi, Buddha abstained from eating meat. Leonardo da Vinci said, "A time will come when people will look upon the murder of animals as they now look upon the murder of human beings." According to Einstein, vegetarian diet increases our learning abilities and mental clarity. Edison said, "Until we stop harming our fellow living beings, we will remain savages." Gandhi said, "To me, the life of a lamb is no less precious than that of a human being." Professor Gabriel Leung, Dean of Medicine in the University of Hong Kong and one of the foremost experts on pandemics, said in one of the interviews, "When animals are picked up from their natural habitat and are captivated in cages, they go under stress. Their immune system becomes weak and they catch viruses from other animals kept in close proximity." Stephen Galster, an environmentalist and animal rights investigator, has been campaigning for years against wet markets where animals are slaughtered on site and sold for food. He says these pandemics are Mother Nature's revenge. These wet markets are the extreme cases, but every meat eater is in a way responsible for the occurrence and recurrence of such pandemics. Is this planet our personal property? Who gave us the right to brutally butcher animals so that we may enjoy our feast? You know, ladies and gentlemen, every minute, I repeat, every minute, 124,000 animals are killed for food in the world. What is required is the paradigm shift in the consciousness of human beings. If every heart is flooded with love and mercy for animals, we will see the dawn of an era where benevolence, not bloodshed, compassion, not cruelty, sanity, not savagery will reign supreme. Then all species of animals along with the plant kingdom will live in harmony with human beings in the lap of Mother Nature. Then, ladies and gentlemen, human race will never be under the threat of any coronavirus. Thank you.